recording this session because later on we'll let you know that this is going to be available. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you our panelists, subject matter expert, answering question and answers, Jamie and Anais. Again, they'll be managing the Q&A. I would like to also like to introduce our keynote speaker, Brenda Moore. Brenda has worked at the credit union for over 22 years and has enjoyed every minute of it. Brenda has been a supervisor for two different departments here in the credit union. Brenda was part of our financial wellness team previously in her career with the credit union and came back to the department because she loves it. She's been back almost a year. Brenda also is a certified credit union counselor and says that her favorite part of her job is talking to our members and helping them see a brighter path no matter what their situation is. Brenda is a wife and a mother and enjoys spending time with her family. She also enjoys crafting and writing. Last but not least, and this is Brenda's words, he is privileged to work with the young lady in red, as you see on your screen. That's Jamie Fathery, also known as the GOAT, greatest one of all times. Brenda, I'll check with you later, but for now, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Butel. That was an amazing introduction, and I'm very privileged, like you said, to work with Jamie, Anna, and our whole team. We're just amazing. We're going to talk to you today about tips to manage and win the credit game, hoping that we can offer some things that you maybe haven't considered and can implement into your own strategy. So our discussion today is going to include understanding your credit report, knowing what affects your credit score, addressing problems, changing habits, which is a big one, and staying in control. So understanding your credit report, the very first step is to find out what's on the report. And according to federal law, you are entitled to 3 consumer credit reports once every 12 months. Those agencies are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Lenders use your credit scores and the information on your report to make decisions about qualifying you for loans and at what interest rates to charge you. So once you've obtained those reports, there are a few things to look for. Is your name correct? And this is any variation. If it's a married name previously, maiden name, social security number, addresses and phone numbers. Are they listed correctly? Is your employment history correct? Are your accounts reporting correctly? And is there anything in public records?
Brenda, before you skip on to that next page, if you could go back to that last slide for real quick. Can you tell people why is it so important? We kind of know, right, the payment history part, but why is it important for people to look at those previous addresses and phone numbers and things like that? I think a lot of times we tend to skim over that information.
It's true. Jamie, I feel like a lot of fraud is going on in our world as opposed to in the past. And that's a great opportunity to make sure that your name and someone else's that might have the same name might not have your information imported there. So it's just a real good practice to take a good look, make sure the information is reporting correctly, middle names, initials, previous names, married names, all of that, and especially the social security number.
Addresses has actually happened to me a few years back. Somebody had opened up a Comcast cable account in Chicago and of course didn't pay the bill, so it ended up on my credit. And I had to not only dispute that item, but make sure that the address was disputed as well so that it didn't follow me since I've never lived in Chicago. So really important, I think, to check those things.
Yeah, and I think your name is pretty unique. So it's a surprise they were able to get away with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what information is on a credit report? And I'll just talk a little about each one of these. So the credit account information, this will include the types of accounts, the dates they were opened, limits, loan amounts and balances, and your payment history, which is very important. Inquiries, hard inquiries specifically will show on the credit report. And obviously, when you applied for a loan or another type credit, lenders will pull your report to make a decision. Bankruptcies, related details about these, such as what type bankruptcy, filing date, dismissals, discharges, etc. Collection accounts, any past due accounts, anything that's been turned over to a collection agency specifically. This will include anything from doctors to cable companies, mobile providers, and on and on. Lenders and creditors who have permissible purpose to access your report will use all of these factors to make a decision. So knowing what affects your scores, your payment history, utilization, length of credit history, credit mix, and hard inquiries. So obviously, paying on time is a good thing. You want to do that no matter what. Credit utilization, this is the calculation of percentage of credit limit versus your balance. It's ideal if you can keep those limits, or rather the amount that you use of your limit, below 30%. Length of credit history. So the longer your positive history, Jamie, the better it's going to be for your score. Credit mix. So the variety of types of credits you use. So say you have a car, a mortgage, personal loan, and maybe a credit card. This is a great mix. Just pay those on time and you're good. Hard inquiries. When you apply for a new line of credit, they'll ask, of course, being the lender, to review your credit report. This will show a hard inquiry on your reports, and that's okay. It just becomes a problem when there's a great number of those, and these will impact your score. So good news on that is that they fade after about 2 years.
And Brenda, I think one of the questions that we get in terms of the length of credit history, a lot of times people will ask about, why when you close a card, or should you close a card, because it can affect your credit score. And that's why, right? It affects that length of credit history. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I know that question will probably come up.
Certainly. Yeah, the longer that you've had an active account and you've had a good repayment history, that shows you've been a great debtor, a great consumer. And this is a factor that any lender will look at. How long have you been in the credit borrowing business? That's a great factor and a good point to make, Jamie.
I think when you close those cards, what people don't realize, or when you pay off a car loan, that credit history kind of goes away. So when they're looking at that average, it's still there, it's still reported on your credit, right? But as far as the impact on your score, so when you say you pay off a vehicle, it's almost like you're losing that trade line, which then affects the credit score, sometimes negatively. It'll actually cause your score to go down temporarily. And so that's why you'll often hear, don't close a credit card. Even you can pay them off, but not to close them, because it can actually affect that average length of credit.
Absolutely. Good point. Absolutely. Keep those cards open. And yes, you can expect that you will see an implication from a payoff on a larger trade line, but it will bounce back. Oh, looks like we're here. We've got our first poll question.
That is correct, Brenda. So to our audience out there, this is our first poll question. And again, we would like your participation. Question is, which do you think has the biggest impact on your credit score? A, payment history. B, credit utilization. C, length of credit history. D, credit mix. E, hard inquiries. Feel free to answer at your choice. Pretty soon we're going to get results. We usually have it up for about a minute, and that way you can answer or give your best guess or correct answer. And Brenda will go through this with me once we close the poll. Brenda, I'm going to believe that the biggest impact on your credit history will be the payment history.
Ding, ding, ding.
But
Good
let's see.
job.
Let's see. You know,
And we'll see. We'll see what the
there
audience
may be
says, right?
multiples. Who knows? I mean, I didn't say that it was a multiple uh, selection, but hey, people may think differently. Maybe
Yeah.
they do one payment a month and boom, pay it off, and at times that doesn't help either because if you don't let it revolve, right? It doesn't create
Yeah.
that history. But again, we'll see in a second. Let's see how we're doing with time. Let me go and check on our side over here. And
I'm seeing the results posted. Are you
oh, you're
seeing
seeing it? Okay.
it? Yeah.
Go for it. So I don't honestly see the results in my side.
I'll go through
Uh,
it. Sure.
okay,
I
thank you.
see them. So it looks like now I'm seeing numbers instead of percentages, but it looks like, oh, we missed it. It went away.
Oops.
I think our polls are malfunctioning.
Oh,
But the
no.
majority of people, I will say the majority of people got it right with payment history A.
Well, I probably gave it away, you think?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was a guess, a wild guess.
Well, it was a good guess. So payment history is the correct answer. That makes up 35% of your score. And that is, of course, whether you pay past credit accounts on time. Yeah.
Good.
All
All right.
right.
So, Brenda, take it over, and thank you again for that information. We got
Okay.
some coming up, some good, I believe, questions that are coming up. So again,
Okay.
feel free to all those out there at the webinar, send in your questions. Again, we'll answer them on the Q&A, and we will bring them up once we do the questions and answers. And again, feel free to ask your questions. Everything is allowed, and we will try to answer our best. So, Brenda, back to you.
All right. So moving to the next questions is where we are. So can we get a few? Imagine that. What are the chances?
Right, right, right.
Oh my.
Anyways, um, the first one is very simple. As if they can get a copy of the PDF presentation, yes, the answer is yes. You can request it on the survey, and we will send it to you there. Um, that's the easiest way that you can get a copy of this. And again, later on, we'll let you know which other ways you can be able to get this presentation. But we have a question. In reference to the annual credit report that you mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, will this annual credit report show you your credit score, or I guess FICO score? They're asking, and would it be the same in all three different bureaus itself? And
Okay.
is there a cost for all three of them, or for each of them, or what is the case?
All right. So three-part question. So the first thing, it does not give you a score unless you purchase the score separately. Okay.
Ah,
It gives you information only about your accounts, balances, etc. But it does not provide scores. The second
mhm.
question, I believe, was to do with cost. Is that right? And of
Correct.
course,
If
yeah,
there's a cost per or for the entire package of three.
there is no cost. It is free. The government mandates that every consumer is entitled to these at no cost annually. So there is no cost.
Good. So the credit score has a separate pricing, and that's something that is it something we can say, or it all depends on the individual? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't know the answer to that because I use our Savvy Money product, which provides us a TransUnion score. It's built into our login on the credit union website. So in addition, I can use Equifax for free. I can use Credit Karma for free and get my scores. So I've never worried about whether or not there was a charge for that, but that is a good question.
Good. Um, Another question that we have is, um, can utility bills affect your credit score?
Well, they can potentially, if say they are gone to collections, definitely. but a lower score can also impact your ability to A, pay less, and then B, I guess the long term is, yes, it does. It does affect your credit score.
Well, that's good to know.
I can add to that detail before you move
Oh,
on. Adding to the utility bills, you may see something with Experian called Experian Boost. Sometimes people will ask about that. And usually what that does is it links to your checking account and looks for things like utility bills that you're self-reporting, and then sees if you're paying those every month consistently. And so if you sign up for that type of program, and that's usually meant for people who don't have traditional types of credit like credit cards or mortgage, then they can affect your credit score even in a positive way. Usually it's not, you're not going to get an 800 score if you're just reporting utility bills, but you can use them to help boost it a little bit, if you don't have the other credit to focus on, for it to pull from.
good. So, Demi, and I'm bouncing this back to you. You mentioned that 800 credit score. Uh, some people may not know what that is, or they are at that level. Do you mind just briefly touching on that?
Sure. Yeah. I don't have the little chart in front of me, unfortunately, but generally speaking, anything above, I think it's like a 780, and the maximum credit score is going to be 850. So usually somewhere in there, 780 to 850 is considered excellent credit. You're going to have lenders begging for your business, and you're going to be offered most likely the best interest rates. And then it kind of drops down from there. So, below 780 to, maybe high 600s is kind of good, average, and then it kind of goes down from there. Obviously, the lower the score, I believe the lowest is 300 or 350. The lower the score, the higher the interest rate you're going to pay, the harder it's going to be to get approved for things.
Wow.
The higher deposits for things like utility bills. Definitely having that low score is going to hurt and cost you more in the long run.
Wow. Wow. And I guess we can help everybody increase their credit score one way, shape, or another in order to avoid those high interest rates that could be out there. Correct?
Absolutely. Brenda's a great counselor, so definitely go see her if you're struggling with that.
All right. The next question, and sorry that I bounced back to you. How do you correct any of the information that may be incorrect that you mentioned on slide number 4?
Sure. So anytime there's a discrepancy in, say, your name, your social, or anything, you would reach out to the credit bureau directly. You want to have in hand your actual social, a copy of anything to help substantiate the change that you're asking them to make. And generally, it takes anywhere from 30 to 45 days to get a response.
Good. Brenda, for the sake of time, I want to make sure that you cover all your material and we have time. Please continue with the presentation and I'll get back to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So it happens. We kind of touched on, the potential for your score to, be in a range of, say, whatever it is, 300 to 850. But problems or situations can arise no matter what your credit score. But if you've got credit out there and you suddenly find yourself unable to keep up with payments, you want to contact your creditors right away. Most of them are willing to work with you to set up a different type of payment arrangement, make a deferral, or do something to help you. And here are some tips to help you effectively communicate. You want to clearly explain the issue. If you've lost your job, had a death in the family, unexpected medical bills, whatever it is, you want to have a very precise and clear statement about that. Then you want to propose a solution. You want to think about this in advance. Plan already how you're going to make good on this temporary situation. So if you know you're getting a tax refund and you can get back in good graces at that point, just make sure that you're letting them know that you put some thought into how you're planning to repay this debt. And then ask questions while you're in the conversation as you start to reach an agreement, just to make sure, if you're wondering, okay, so my payments will restart on what date? And what's the repayment amount? Just ask all of those questions during that conversation. And then any new arrangement, get it in writing. Okay.
I think that last part's really important, right? 'Cause people can say anything verbally, but if you have it in writing, you can use that to potentially dispute later. You know, I think most lenders are going to be on the up and up with it, but especially if you're dealing with something already in collections, you want to make sure that it's in writing.
Yeah. And it doesn't hurt to write down the name of the person you spoke with or agent number, the phone number you dialed, everything related to the call so that you have a good, I guess, leg to stand on if something comes back. Okay. So changing habits, I mentioned early on that this is one of the most critical aspects of being a debtor or consumer, and things that we do that we don't necessarily think will have that much of an impact can really be detrimental to our credit. And they're simple things, but they are habits that we have. And if we can make some changes, a lot of times we can get out of our situations. Okay. So not making the minimum payment, having late payments. It's always a good idea if you can to pay more than the minimum, but if you can't pay the minimum required every month on time, there's a myth out there about carrying a balance to build your credit score. And in reality, there's no necessarily documented evidence of that. This only comes with added interest, expense, and no real improvement to your scores. Shopping to be happy. And I wish we could see some hands because this is a big and terrible one, and very definitely one that I'm guilty of. So, and here's why, and there's a science to it. Shopping actually releases endorphins in your brain, similar to activities like exercise, eating chocolate. I think I need to start eating more chocolate, you know. But anyway, the bad part about this is that it becomes addictive, and those feel-good purchases can rack up some debt and eventually ding your credit score if you're not careful. So people out there, empty your carts right now. Go back, empty your carts. And then not keeping receipts. That's one that, you know, you'll notice when you shop a lot lately, they're asking, do you want your receipt? Always say yeah, because you've got something to compare to for your credit card or your bank transaction statements. If you've been charged for something you didn't buy, then with the receipt, it's a lot easier to dispute it and have the refund made, okay? And then not reading your credit card statement. There are a lot of benefits to reading those statements. You could catch unauthorized charges, billing errors, fees, changes in your minimum monthly payment even, because with the Fed rates, you know, fluctuating as they have so much, what might have been your minimum payment last month might be different this month. Accepting promotional credit card offers and forgetting about them. So we, like most other lenders, we, you know, get our membership all riled up and happy about these 0% interest for a few months. And that's great. And it's good for you if you can take advantage of it. But to be smart about it, if you use the card for a larger purchase, instead of waiting until that 18 months is up, go ahead and start making payments equal to the amount of 17 months. And that way on that 18 month, it's already paid off and that interest doesn't shock you, right? And then not monitoring your credit score and report. So monitoring both of these, they can help you fix issues that come up. If you've missed a bill and you didn't realize it, or if that's been fraud, we kind of mentioned that earlier. The sooner you can react to errors, the better and faster you can get those changes made to what might eventually be an impact to your credit score. Making large purchases without a payoff plan. This is similar to that credit card thing we just talked about. First, you want to be sure that you can afford a large purchase. And if you use a credit card or whatever means to make this purchase, if those interest rates are waived and then there'll they're going to kick off within a certain few months. Do the same thing as with anything else. Just divide those up before the time comes, and then you have it paid off before the interest hits. Taking cash advances. This is a big one and a bad one. This is just bad under almost every circumstance, because if you've already had, you've got these bad habits you're doing anyway, cash advances are just adding to that. They're expensive, they come with high fees, compounded interest, and they kick in the moment you get the money. So those are some things we can be smart about observing and making some changes.
And I think, Brenda, to speak to this, because these are all great points. And, a lot of creditors, specifically credit card companies, they bank on things like people only making minimum payments, right? And it's taking a lot longer to pay things off. You're paying more in interest when you do that. So it's always a better idea, obviously, to pay more than the minimum if you can, and have those plans in place, especially for those introductory rates, to get it paid off before that introductory period ends. Because there's a reason that credit card companies offer these, right? Most times, and it's a very high percentage. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a high percentage of people that usually do not pay things off within that introductory period. And that's what a lot of creditors are banking on.
Right.
That and those cash advances being, usually at a higher interest rate than your regular purchases are. And they don't necessarily, when you make a payment to pay it back, not all of your payment is going to that cash advance first. So being mindful of those. And these are all things that their statements will tell you, which is why, like you said, it's so important to read those statements.
Absolutely.
So excellent points. So great.
So what we want to do now that we've talked about the things that can be bad or detrimental, we want to have a poll question.
That is correct. So again, to all those attending the webinar, we appreciate you seeing and learning of this process. And we try to make it fun at the same time. This is a very serious subject. So poll question number 2, and again, your participation is appreciated. When is the last time you read your credit card statement? We just talked about it. A, today. B, last month. C, last year. D, never. So, Brenda, you mentioned previously about reading your credit card statements, right?
Yeah.
Well, usually most people have more than one statement of
Mhm.
either a credit card, a streaming service, or something like that. Happens to be that I was in this a streaming service, just looking at a payment, and I asked my wife, since when this went up? And
Mhm.
is that a company that goes to when it's logging in, the red big letter? And it happens to be that I've been paying almost for a year a total of $500 for a CD DVD service that I have not used.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I'm like, why did I pay this company this amount of money when I have not used it? And that's because, especially this account is online, so I didn't
Yeah.
look into it until now. So I was able to cancel that DVD, CD, whatever
Yeah.
subscription that I had. So
Yeah.
again, it's we all have more than one statement, just
True.
like your financial statement, your credit union statement.
Yeah.
You have all those. You need to look through them. I mean,
All of
we don't
them.
say this just for
Yeah.
time's sake. We say it because it's true statements,
Yeah.
real life.
Real life. And
Yeah.
another thing
So
too, while you're looking up the results of our poll here, I'll mention too that, credit card statements in particular have that disclosure. It will have, of course, a phone number if you ever have trouble, but it also shows you how much interest you're paying. And if you pay it off in this amount of time,
yeah,
what it'll be. So that's another good reason, whether you're getting your statements online, whether they come in the mail, no matter whether they're credit card or no matter what kind they are, be sure you look at them.
yeah. So Brenda, we got the results,
Okay.
and it seems like the majority of our attendees just read it last month, which
Oh, okay.
I think that's a good thing, right?
I agree with that. I think that's a great thing. I'm
Yeah.
pleased. All
Yep.
right.
I'm glad too that they're staying on top of it and probably
Yeah.
catching things faster than I did with this one in particular.
Yeah, no doubt.
That I donated $500 to somebody that. But anyway, Back to you, Brenda.
Oh, all right. Okay. So now you know, Patel. Check your statements. So good habits to develop. So it's easy. You know, we like Butel, who was just going through the motions. He's paying the bill every month, not being really observant of, you know, what these charges are. Uh, we can make a difference by just being a little bit more hands-on with the things that matter, that really affect our financial wellness. So these are some good habits to develop. This is not a one plan fits all approach. There isn't any such thing. You have to take what works for you. But these are a few tips that you can do on your own and just build on. So we'll start with make a habit of reviewing your statements, right? You want to create a monthly budget because only when you know how much money you have to work with, that is how you make a decision about where that money goes. Pay all bills on time. Identify and change those bad habits. That list we just talked about, that's of course not all inclusive, and we know and we can recognize ourselves in some of these things, and it's okay. We're only human, but when you know that there's an opportunity to change, you can work on those things a little at a time. Talk to friends and family that have good personal finances. We all know that person who's always bragging about, you know, what they did on their vacation and all of these things they're doing, you know, and they don't have any debt. Talk to them, see if they are willing to share some of their tips with you. And then after everything else or before anything else, contact a member of financial wellness. That's what we're here for. If you find yourself in a hole, stop digging and get help. Bottom line, you know, we all have had experiences that are unfavorable at some point, but it's only when you stay in a place that is not benefiting you financially that it becomes a bigger problem. Get help. That's what we're here for. Don't hesitate to reach out.
Like Butel mentioned earlier, if you find that your credit score isn't quite what you want it to be, um, that's what we're here for as well. And we can help with
Yeah,
giving you the tips that we need by creating a personal plan, taking a look at your credit report and really giving you an individual um, view or insight into what exactly you can do to help bring that score up and
yeah,
get it to be where you want it to be, get it into those 800s or whatever it
yeah,
is, you know, whatever
yeah,
your goal is and whatever you're needing it to be increased for. That's
yeah.
what we're here for.
And Jamie, I'm
And
glad you mentioned that. I'm sorry, Butel. I just wanted to emphasize that our team, we don't necessarily just want to see our members who need our help. We want our members who just want us to give them that assurance they're in the right direction. I mean, it doesn't matter what your credit score, it can be an 850. If you just want to talk about it, if you have some long-term goals that you want to achieve, if you're looking to buy a house, if you're, no matter what, if you want to talk to us, your credit score is irrelevant. We want to be your financial wellness go-to.
correct. And Brenda and Jamie, what I was going to mention is, this is the benefit for our member owners out there. There's no cost for you to come talk to these young ladies here at our financial wellness team. They will help you walk the walk. They will make you sure you get to the point that you want to get in life, to that plateau of, like Brenda and Jamie mentioned, that 850. That is probably very few people out there that have that number. But again, there's no cost to you. It's part of the benefit of being a member of the American Airlines Credit Union. It's a benefit to you, to your family, that they can take advantage of this. So, Brenda, back to you.
All right. Of course, we've already mentioned we have these valuable tools and resources. You can reach out to us at our website, Financial Wellness, and of course, get in touch to schedule an appointment or get more information. The Navigator is a product built into the credit union's website. It allows you to take little tests to educate yourself on your own. And believe it or not, every now and then they give away money. So I know we can all get with that, right? And then Savvy Money, as I mentioned earlier, is built into your online access. When you have an account with us and you log into your account online, then you can see that TransUnion credit score and report.
I think those last two tools and resources, the Navigator and Savvy Money, y'all don't sleep on those. Those are great tools, again, available at no cost to our members. The Navigator is just a treasure trove of information on anything from how to improve your credit, paying off debt, creating a budget, preparing for retirement, paying for your kids' schools. And they make it kind of fun and interactive. So you're not just kind of going through these boring articles. Yes, there's some articles, but there's also lots of videos and there's ways that it's a great tool. I can't say enough about it. We use it a lot, of course, in researching for some of these presentations, and um, it's a really useful thing that's available to our members. And that Savvy Money, especially if you're looking at trying to improve your credit score, that's the way to monitor it for free. Through the annualcreditreport.com that Brenda mentioned at the beginning, you can get all three, detailed credit reports there, but you only get that once per year. Whereas on Savvy Money, you can go in there and pull that TransUnion report as often as you want to, and it doesn't affect your credit score. And you're going to get your score as well so that you can make sure that it's going in the direction that you want it to go in. So definitely look into those if you're not signed up with them already.
Absolutely. Good points, Jamie. And of course, here we are. It tells you a little bit more about our detailed approach. We're all certified counselors, experts in financial assistance for Bruce credit situations, advanced financial indebtedness solutions assistance, continuous accountability, support and guidance. And like this, we have these educational seminars and webinars throughout the year. Here we are again. Any more questions?
Yeah, Brenda, what we're gonna do right now is do you mind going back one slide?
Of
We
course.
have our queue with Q&A full of how do we reach you guys? How do we contact you guys? We want to talk
Ah,
to you. So I know
yes,
we put it out there already, the phone number
yes,
and the Q&A, but just to make sure that they have the time to grab that pen and or pencil or paper and write down either the phone number or the website that they can reach you guys in order to go through any of these processes there.
it's wonderful.
And again, it's at no cost, like Jamie mentioned. Let me see if I'm able to grab the baton from you. Give me a second because we're going to go through some public service announcements before we continue with the Q&A, making sure that we make aware our member owners aware of what we have available for them. Here we go. So before we go into the questions and answer, we want to make sure that all those individuals that are in today's call are aware of our offers out there. So there's many different types of offers, and we'll go through that. But there's also a QR code that you can get your phone, scan it, and it will tell you all the different offers that we have. You can always call us to know about our offers as well. It's an 800 number anywhere around, or you can stop by our branch and see, hey, what's going on this month? What quarter? With this quarter? Or you can always reach out to us. Some of the benefits that we have as a reward offer, I should say, is usually our rates for our vehicles. Our auto rates are considered one of the lowest rates out there. And again, our rates may vary based on your credit score, as Jamie mentioned before. But it's again one of those things that the higher your score, the lower your score, the lower your score itself as a credit report, the rate might be a little higher, but we can help you improve that rate to go down with different programs that the credit union offers. So again, it's a matter of reaching out to see what offers we have. And as I mentioned, you can refinance your auto and take advantage of any equity you may have. That way you can lower your payments in other areas or higher paying interest credit cards itself. For those individuals that are using us already as a credit union, we appreciate that. A lot of people use us for their savings. Just making sure that they're aware that you can get a free checking account at no cost basically to you. which is one of our products, is the priority checking account, but also that once you open a checking account and when you spend the first $25 as a purchase, not with the debit card, it's not an ATM withdrawal, I'm sorry, um, use your debit card to make a purchase. Within the first 60 days, we will give you back that $25. So it's a win-win situation on that as well. Um, Brenda touched bases about zero balance interest, but we offer those as well. We offer this time a balance transfer with our low rate credit card, Platinum credit card, for 6 billing cycles, 0% introductory rate. Again, for the first 6 billing cycles. So that will help you to go from, which I saw recently, a credit card at 32%, which I was like, what? But that's what they offer. Like Jamie says, they'll try to offer anything to you just so you fall in that environment. So our rates are way much lower than that, and you can take advantage of this of transferring some of those to ours, those debt to ours, and take advantage of that. We also have programs that talk about how to earn connection points in our credit card products. If you open one of our new Visa Platinum Rewards credit cards, you can get 25,000 connection points. And once you apply, the loan officer will give you better details on that. As well, if you were to open a new mortgage product service um, and open that credit card, the new Platinum Rewards, you can earn up to 60,000 connection points. Again, your loan officer will give you more details on that itself. To move forward, here is our refer a member bonus. So that way, as a member owner, you can pass the gift of membership to either your family members, to your coworker that is in the air transportation industry itself. And basically, when they open an account, you have given them your information to use as a referring individual. If their account is open, you get $25 and you could do up to 10 a year. So that's a quick $250 that you can make. You can refer your wife refers your kid, you can refer your parents, you know, and that way you can create that referring program itself and giving again the gift of membership to all those that you know. You can either scan the QR code here or you can go to our offers page as well. Visit our website, aacreditunion.org, refer 25 for more information as well. Um, we're coming back to this page because we're going to go now into the Q&A, but we wanted to make sure that everybody is aware again of the phone number itself. So Brenda, we got a good amount of time to go through these questions. So we're going to go through them now, and we're going to go from the bottom up just to make sure that we take care of this. What is considered a good credit score? Uh, Basically, for example, what credit score will give the best rates on loans at the credit union?
Well, I believe anything above 750, 700 to 750 is ideal for some of our better rates. Of course, we have loans that can help almost any credit tier, but the better the rate, the lower your interest, and that's what we want, right?
Correct. Um, Thank you. They're stating and asking, I pay a service company $5.99 a month to report my monthly rent payments to the credit bureaus itself. Is this beneficial for my credit rating?
I don't think it's necessary. First of all, you can do that through no, I'm sorry, Experian. You can do that through, like Jamie mentioned, Experian Boost. It is free through Experian Boost. You just simply link your account the same way you already have it. But in terms of building credit or to show some activity on your report, it is beneficial, but it's not necessarily going to have a tremendous effect on raising your score.
And to add to that, I think it kind of depends on what else is on your credit report, right? Like if you already
Yeah.
have credit cards or a car loan or something, then it's really not necessary to report the additional trade lines like rent or utilities. Especially when it comes at a cost like that. It's like Brenda said, it's not really necessary. But if you are just trying to establish some sort of credit and you really don't do the credit card thing, or you pay for everything in cash, then sometimes it's helpful if you're trying to build up something for a purpose, like purchasing a home or something like that. It just kind of depends on your situation.
Good. I'm just going to touch bases back on people still asking how they can contact us. Again, here's the phone number, our website. Jamie, I wanted to ask you, you available? What are your times availability? Are you only at the DFW area? Are you doing webinars, WebEx visitations? Um, and the other question was, is there any other languages besides English that you can help our member owners out there, since we are internationally based individuals within this credit union?
Yeah, these are great
Or
questions.
Brenda. Or
So
Brenda.
either one of us can answer, but yeah, so we do have 5 certified credit union counselors that are available, both English and Spanish speaking. Um, and our hours are typically, I would say our office hours generally are 8 to 4:30 Central Time. However, I do have some counselors that are available a little bit earlier than that and a little bit later than that. So we do our best to try to work with your schedule and place you with somebody accordingly. But our published hours are 8 to 4:30 Central. I'm trying to remember all the questions you asked there, Butel.
No, the
um,
language, the times that you were available, if it was only here at DFW, that you had a person-to-person engagement, and you mentioned already that yes, you can do, I believe, WebEx visitation itself.
We do. We can do WebEx. So if all of our counselors are based here in the DFW area, but we do either by phone or WebEx if you prefer that face to face, which we actually prefer that. We like to get to know our members and who we're talking to. So we can do that phone or WebEx for those who are not in the area. And if you are here locally in DFW, then we also do face to face appointments if you prefer to come in. Yep.
And they can go to one of the branches and request information, and the branches will reach out to you, and you can provide any information they're requesting as well, right?
Right, you can do that, or the easiest thing is just to reach out to us directly. Of course, the branches can get you our information as well. But as you can see on the screen, our phone number or email, or you can go to our website and you'll get the link to our program agreement on there as well.
Good. Um, So this is a different question on this. This individual used to have a secured credit card with us. Uh, they want to know if they can reopen one. I guess they decided to close it afterwards. And will this help them or create a new trade line?
Well, I'll take that one. Okay, so if the card was closed and the account is in good standing, of course, then we can certainly reopen a secure or open a new secured card, and it will report as a trade line. On the credit report, it doesn't say if it's secured or unsecured. So no need to worry about that. Some people are concerned as to how it displays, and if they go out, they want to, have the appearance of just operating as normal, and that card does that. There's no credit pull either for a secured card.
Hmm, good to hear that. We got a question as well. When somebody starts working with you, how long does it take before they can start seeing their credit score improve?
Generally, I would say anywhere from 3 to 6 months. It depends greatly, though, on what their goals are and how much we are working with, what the situation is. There are factors beyond our control. If there's been, say, a bankruptcy or other things, tax liens or things that are, not necessarily going to change. And I don't know. It varies. Everybody's an individual, and their circumstance may be different, obviously, than the next person.
So it all depends on how aggressive this member wants to be within their credit, taking care of it, and moving forward with probably some power payments. But usually it will be 60 to 90 days before they can see any changes? Because I think they report every 30, 45 days.
Yeah, most companies do report either 30 to 45 days, and depending upon how aggressive every part of the process goes, the potential to see a change could happen pretty quick.
Good. Let's see. Somebody's asking, how can you control a purchase if it's processed as credit versus a cash advance?
Interesting.
Let's
I don't think you can. If you're taking a cash advance from a card, it's going to show that way.
mhm.
I know that if you are using your debit card, you can always get cash back on a debit card, but it sounds like this is related to credit. And don't think there's any way for it to show differently, because if it's a cash advance, that's what it is.
And I believe
Right.
there's a fee, right, for cash advance at some institutions.
Absolutely. Well, I take that back. I don't know if there's a fee, but there's definitely some interest on it that's different and higher, like we talked about earlier, that you don't want to do that if you can avoid it.
Jamie, were you gonna mention something, or
I started to, and then I forgot what I was going to
I
say.
believe that there's a charge. One of our colleagues that is in the backside mentioned that there could be a 3 to 5% charge for the cash advance fee. So there is a cost.
Good
So
to know.
for
Good
a
to
cash
know.
advance itself, uh, and again, if you're purchasing something with your credit card, it's just as a regular purchase. But good to
I
know
do
that.
remember. Sorry, I do remember what I was going to say is that a cash advance, the difference, or if you're just making a purchase with your credit card, that's not going to be considered a cash advance, right? That's just a charge. So a cash advance is when it's almost like using it at an ATM. Sometimes credit cards will have a PIN number that you can use to actually draw from your credit line at an ATM or even at a point of sale when you can do like a cashback type transaction. And that's when it's considered a cash advance. So in that sense, you can control that by just not ever doing a cash advance. But if you're just making a purchase, it's going to be gone. It's going to go through as a credit transaction, not as a cash advance. Hope
Yeah,
that clarifies it for the person asking.
yeah. Another question, very valid and very good question, and I'm certain that we are here to help with this one. Are consolidation loans a good way to try to increase credit scores?
They can be, and they can be a great tool to help to avert some interest, like we talked about that incredible interest rate on certain types of loans and credit cards. But there's a tendency sometimes for people to then take that credit that's freed up and use it again. And that's a problem. So if there's a strict discipline about using a consolidation product the way it was intended, it can be very beneficial.
And I
Correct.
think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword sometimes because if you're consolidating things, you may be closing some credit lines and you're opening a new credit line. So one of the things that affects your credit score is new credit, right? It's a small factor, but it is still a factor. So you're opening up a new line of credit or loan type, which can affect your credit score. And if you are closing other lines of credit in the process of that consolidation, that could potentially impact your credit score. However, it may help with your utilization rate, which we know is another factor for credit scores. So if you consolidate them, your utilization rate may go down, which will positively impact your credit score. So you're likely to see some movement, but which way is just going to depend on your total kind of credit package and picture as to how exactly it affects it.
Correct. That's good information to know. And again, we're here to help you guys with this consolidation. If anything, we will try to provide the best product that we have that will help you uh, get some liquid cash, like we call it, in order for you to be able to pay that higher interest rate that you have at some other place. And like Jamie mentioned and Brenda, that this will help you most likely um, increase your score, but at the same time, it's the way you either close them or maintain them itself. Um, we're about 2 minutes out. Want to make sure that those individuals that are out there that may be joining us for first time because somebody invited them and they're not necessarily our members at this time, but they still fall under our membership. I want to make sure that you're all aware that you can open a basic membership with us. Um, and that we will do is when you want to open it, um, use the promo code B as in boy, D as in David, 4412. And once you open it, we will credit the first $6 into your account. And that person that is referring you, make sure you give your information so you can get that $25. So it's a win-win situation. And once you're a member owner of the credit union, you can take advantage of all our different products and services as well. Um, I want to make sure that you all are aware um, that we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure you like us. Make sure you uh, smash the notification button. Make sure you say, let us know how well we're doing and what we can do for you guys in the future. Any other topics or any events, please check out our credit union website for future webinars schedule at aacreditunion.org events. Um, Making sure that once again you reach out to us, follow us, like us here. Um, it's 2 o'clock. Thank you again, everybody that joined us, everybody that was present here. I want to say thank you to Sarah, Anais, Jack, Jamie, for being here with us today. Brenda, any last words you want to say out there to our people, to our webinar attendees?
I'm just so glad that we were able to connect today, despite the crazy weather DFW is experiencing, and we are looking forward to meeting you all. Thank you, and thank you, Butel.
No, thank you all again and enjoy your day. For those celebrating today's date, Pilots Day, and our administrative professionals, or if you're celebrating a birthday or anything that is joyful, enjoy. Thank you again for joining us on today's presentation. Take care. Feel free to let us know on the survey if we can assist. Uh, and again, if you want to see this presentation, go to our YouTube channel, AA Credit Union, and you'll be able to see this also, the recording as well. Thank you. Have a great day.